of the evening. She brought us, to all of you, especially our young leaders. It is my distinct honor to inform you that our Toastmaster of the evening, she brought District 75 in 2013 as the district. She brought District 75 in 2013 as the district highest award ever, President's Distinguished District. Fellow Toastmasters leaders in District 75, please help me welcome with a thunderous applause our Toastmaster of the evening, past District Governor, and our current consultant, District Consultant Katrina J.J. Litargo, Distinguished Toastmaster.
Hello, good evening, good morning, maayong gabi, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat.
Good evening.
So thank you for joining us in tonight's meeting. I welcome everyone and thank you for wearing your sunglasses at night. Thank you, Madam District Director Nene, for those kind words that you've said about me. But of course, I could have not done it without the help of our fellow Toastmasters in District 75. Tonight, we are privileged with the presence of the stars, not only of District 75, but of course of Toastmasters International. So I would like to acknowledge the presence of our International President, Distinguished Toastmaster, Richard Peck. Yay! We also have at our midst our International Director, Dorothy Isadu, who we fondly call Doggy. Yay! And of course, our past International Director, Elisa Tai, and our other district dignitaries whom we have with us tonight. Later, we are privileged to hear our keynote speaker, which I will be introducing more later. Distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn, thank you for gracing our meeting tonight. So to start off, for our Zoom master, may I see our next slide? All together, we will be reciting our Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone, please raise your right hand. I am a Filipino. I pledge my allegiance to the flag of the Philippines and to the country it represents, with honor, justice, and freedom, put in motion by one nation, for God, humanity, nature, and country. Okay. Thank you. And next, everybody, I need you to raise your hand so we can recite our Toastmasters Promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, and to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Thank you very much for joining me in reciting our Toastmasters Promise. So tonight, we are privileged to have a full program. And to start off, let us hear our word for the night to be led by none other than the current Division E Director, someone who is very, very much in a, well, who looks really cool in his shades tonight. So let us all welcome distinguished Toastmaster Nino Sepulveda to share with us the word for the night.
Our word for the evening, word of the evening, it's actually a phrase. It's an idiom. Take a chill pill. When you tell someone to take a chill pill, you're telling them to relax. It was popular in the college campuses during the 80s. A little interesting fact about the take a chill pill is that in the early 1980s, when ADHD was first recognized and the pill were being designed, the term for those pills was chill pill, since they were used for calming hyperactive people. In those days, mostly children. As that time went by, the term became an idiom to tell people to calm and relax. So an example would be, Ramses was so scared and stressed out of the plane back home. So I yelled at him, take a chill pill. You're freaking everybody out, Ramses. Another one, everybody should try to take a chill pill during the table topics session. So I hope you will try our phrase for the evening. It's an idiom, chill pill. Back to our Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster JJ.
We have also some guests here. Maybe we can go back to the sparkles first while waiting for her connections once again. So Master, would you like to share us with the sparkles? We have a new guest or are coming right now here. So our sparkles for tonight is all about the things in the 80s, especially the boys of the 80s. So just mention your name, which club are you from, what is your position, and please complete the sentence that my favorite male 80s icon is blank and because. Just one word to describe that person. Let's try to call on all the way my good friend from Singapore, the person behind who assists me for Toastmaster Peck as well. Can we have Toastmaster Elisa to share with us with the sparkle for tonight? Hello, my dear friend. How are you?
Hello. What should I say, Ramses?
Just tell me your name, your club, and your position, and if you have some 80s icons, share with us.
Oh my God. Okay, my name is Elisa. I belong to 4 clubs, 1 in Saudi, 1 in US, 2 in Singapore. But basically, I'm in Singapore. Hi, Nino. Hi, everyone. Really happy to see all of you here, especially Betty Jet. Hi. My 80s. I don't know, because maybe I haven't born on the 80s, so I don't know. Maybe I love John Travolta. Maybe. Because he's quite cool and handsome. Should be.
Yeah,
Back to you, Ramses.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Elisa, and thank you so much for helping us also for the invitation for tonight. Toastmaster Elisa is the person who also helped me a lot. Salute for you, Toastmaster Elisa, as well. So we have now our Toastmaster of the evening, distinguished Toastmaster JJ.
Yes, I'm back.
The virtual floor is open. Okay, you're back again.
I hope the internet will be more stable this time. So thank you and thank you, Coach Ramses, for taking over for a while. So just to return to our program, so thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Nino, for sharing with us a word for the night. And so I challenge everyone to use that word this evening. To start off, we have our prepared speakers. Can we see the slide? We'll introduce our first speaker. Okay. We have our first speaker who is a past area director or governor. He was the area governor when I was district governor, who also served as Division I director, a loving husband and father. Let us all welcome distinguished Toastmaster Franklin Villos, who will deliver his speech entitled Confessions of a Plantito.
I confess.
I am a plantito. Actually, I prefer to call myself a plant daddy because I am a daddy. My passion for plants actually started when I was still 10 years old. My first baby plant is ginger. And I used to have a garden full of ginger. Just ginger, nothing else. And of course with some unwanted weeds and unwanted grass. Why ginger? Two reasons. I love drinking fresh ginger tea, and ginger is a low maintenance plant. You know, you simply bury it in the soil and you let nature do its magic. It doesn't require much complications. So, if there's anyone here who loves plants, but unfortunately plants don't love you back, then you should try ginger. For me, as a first timer back then, I was disheartened when I noticed that the leaves were slowly turning brown. From having thick foliage, my garden soon became a barren land of desperation with only twigs poking on its cracked surface. And I thought my ginger plants, all of them, have died. And then my grandmother came to me to rescue me and told me, "That is normal, grandson." Of course, that's not how she sounds, but please bear with me. Physical death of plants or of ginger is part of the life cycle of that kind of plant, of ginger. They die on the outside, but they continue to grow beneath the soil. And when their leaves die, it means they're ready for harvest. And true enough, my grandmother was able to harvest a basket full of plump gingers from my 1 square meter garden. And as I grew older, my love of plants somehow went to a sleep mode until the pandemic. And with all the outdoor cancelled, I was left with no other option but to make the most of what I have while housebound. And then my first project was, of course, ginger plant. What else, right? So instead of throwing away some wrinkled ginger in the kitchen, I put them in a pot of soil. Then a few weeks later, I noticed that they started growing until they were overcrowding that one small pot. And then I decided to transfer them in the backyard. And fast forward to today, my little garden in the backyard produced sweet corn, peanuts, tomato, wing beans, bagu beans, eggplant, different varieties of pepper, sweet potato, basil, okra, pechay, brassica, carrot, spinach, lemongrass, just to name a few. But of course, they all don't grow at once. I wish they would grow all at once. Aside from the, actually, it's either 1 or 2 or 3 plants would grow there because it's just a small land here in our back. And aside from the plants in the garden, I have also accumulated several ornamental plants now. It used to be not my cup of tea because to me, it was a waste of time just to tend plants that you would only just look at. I was more passionate with food-producing plants, but then again, during the pandemic, I have all the time in the world to waste. So my enjoyment with ornamental plants started when I decided to transform grandmother's dying aglaonema to a bigger pot. And then I saw that from a wimpy plant, it grew into a luscious bush after just a few days. And then I was elated seeing that. And since then, potted plants continue to take up space in our house right now. You can see plants by the window, on the table, in the bathroom, just everywhere in our house. So every time now I see plants displayed in the market, I feel like they are calling my name. Daddy, please save me. So hearing those whispers from the baby plants in the market, I always, or most of the time, bring back home plants. Probably I have already saved around 100 baby plants from the market. In taking care of plants, no matter how you want to speed things up, They simply have their own agenda. And that is slowly but surely. Fellow Toastmasters, nature can be a little slow sometimes in terms of showing results. It teaches you to have faith while waiting. Sometimes we want to control everything to speed things up and then we get disappointed when we don't get results of our effort right away. We feel discouraged when things don't go our way. But we have to remember that in life there are things we can control and there are things we cannot control. Therefore, we can only do our best on the things we can control, and we have to let go of those that are beyond our control, and we just let nature do its miracle. Take your time, do your best. Let nature handle the rest. I always imagine hearing these whispers every time I visit the backyard garden. Fellow Toastmasters, whatever it is you're hoping to achieve in life, just do your best. Do the best you can, but also be patient with yourself. Be patient with time. And always believe that everything will always turn out to be just fine. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
All right. Yes, please. Next slide. There you go. So our next speaker tonight will deliver from the Dynamic Leadership Path, Level 3 Elective Inspire Your Audience, which is time from 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose of the project is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. She will be evaluated none other by our Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Jazz Encarnacion. And the title of her speech is Semi-Colon. A round of applause to our speaker tonight, Toastmaster Mary Grace Tabuna.
Of all the punctuation marks, semicolon is my favorite. Every time I say this aloud, my friends would strangely stare at me and ask, "Are you suicidal?" Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters, and online friends. The semicolon looks like this. It has a comma and a period above it. It is used to separate thoughts, and it's usually used when the writer chooses not to end the story or the sentence just yet. In 2013, the semicolon came viral after Project Semicolon was founded. The symbol became universally known among those suffering from mental illness and suicide, with many tattooing this on their body and posting it on social media. It has become a symbol for suicide survivors who could have ended lives, but chose not end it just yet. But hold on. I'm not suffering from any mental illness, nor I'm suicidal. Really, I'm not. I'm not in denial. But really, I have loved semicolon even before 2015. I see this as an interesting pause, a moment in time. In fact, I have several semicolon moments, as I fondly call it. My first semicolon moment is year 2007. After graduating nursing and passing licensure exam, both here in the Philippines and the US, I thought, USA, here I come. But then the recession of 2008 hit the entire world. I, along with thousands of nurses in the Philippines, we have to put off our plans of working in another country. Agencies denied our applications, and we were told to work in the hospitals as volunteer for the meantime. My second semicolon moment, the year 2020. Like all of you, I welcomed that year with so much enthusiasm that would be the best year of my life. 4 international flights, 200 employee mark of my company, and get married in the church. But then the pandemic happened, and I was forced to cancel all my plans, and I was told to stay at home. But the year ended, and 2021 came. Like all of you, I welcomed the year with so much hope and enthusiasm that this year is going to be the best year of my life. And I could finally accomplish the things that I have on my checklist and push through with all my plans. But then I tested positive. The most negative word I dreaded to hear. I'm COVID positive. It's sad and confusing, just like all the other semicolon moments. When I shared this with my husband, he said, "What do you call this? A semicolon when you don't even believe that this is a semicolon moment." Fellow Toastmasters, that question reminded me that a semicolon is a pause, a moment in time, and that the story doesn't end here. It reminded me it takes a choice to continue. And so my story continues. I may not be a nurse now in the US, but I am the president of an international company based in Cebu. I may not have my wedding in the church, but I had a very special and intimate civil wedding witnessed by our friends and family. I may not be able to travel the world and go to other countries this year, but I'm able to join Toastmasters Club in all over the world. Plus, I get to compete the district conference. Can you believe that? And so my story continues. Fellow Toastmasters, there is a reason why a semicolon is written this way. It is stronger than a comma, but less final than a period. It takes a choice and courage to see these intersections of our lives as a semicolon moment. So friends, go ahead and continue to write your story. Back to you, Toastmaster Evening.
All right. Wonderful. Punctuation marks. There's always a story in every punctuation mark, just like in life. So don't let anything come to an end by using a period. I'd rather have a long dash so that the story will continue. So thank you very much for sharing that speech with us this evening. Of course, the best is yet to come in a while, but first we have to challenge your minds and tickle your funny bones. We will have our table topics session to be led by our table topics master, Toastmaster Hazel Masilang, who is a PAX Division H Admin Manager. Tonight, she will be evaluated by another evaluator, Distinguished Toastmaster Jeff Gale, because the original evaluator has a family emergency. She sends her apologies tonight that she can't make it. There was really something, I don't want to say tragic, but there's something that happened in their area that she can't make it. So she needs to, yes, really urgent. So with that, are you ready to think on your feet? To lead us, let us all welcome Toastmaster Casey.
Thank you so much for that warm and introduction, Toastmaster JJ. Now, are you guys ready for our table topics? I would invite everyone to get a chill pill and enjoy because I will take you back to 1980s. Now, let's go on to our table topics. One of the things that was very trendy back in the 80s is the movie Back to the Future with icons like Doc and Marty McFly. Now, hold on. So right now, I'm having some issues with my PowerPoint. One moment. Okay. Why do we do table topics? We do table topics to practice thought organization, speak our mind, think on our feet, and enhance our listening skills. Now, to be guided, or please be guided with the time, of course, our timer, Toastmasters Meeting, will show or flash the green light to mark your first minute, yellow for 1.5, and red for 2 minutes. And here are some patterns that you can use to answer your table topics. We got IDA, attention, interest, desire, and call to action. RM, answer, reason, example, and message. PPF, that past, present, and future. PREM, point, reason, example, message. PREP, point, reason, example, point. SMG, which is very popular, story, message, gain. And SFTH, speaking from the heart. Now, since I mentioned earlier that I'll be taking you back to 80s, let me get my sunglasses or put my sunglasses back on to start this session. Today, I want the participants to think that they are auditioning to Robert Lee Semek's Back to the Future and answer using the past, present, and future form. And do that, you'll have a chance to get casted as Marty McFly in the Back to the Future. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. For our first question, do we have any volunteer?
No.
Or I could call anyone. I think Toastmasters Boyet Claros would like to answer. Toastmasters Boyet, are you ready?
Good.
The future isn't written. It can be changed. The future isn't written. it can be changed. Now you have 30 seconds to think before you answer, and kindly pin the timer so that you can know when your time is up.
I posted it. Published it. Chapter 3.
When you're ready, it's lights, camera, action.
The future isn't written, it can be changed. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. You can definitely know what would future brings to you. It might be that in the past, you were doing something that you would like to become somebody in the future. Like for example, me, when I started as a student, I wanted to become a doctor, but it did not really happen. As days passed on, and even years, the path changed. So, I studied a different course. I finished college in Bachelor of Science in Accounting. The fact that I really did not decide to become an accountant because my mind changed. I wanted to become a lawyer then. But that's the path that I took. And I was not able to take the board examination. So I just applied to work in a bank and applied in a different company again, in a beer company, San Miguel Corporation, way back then, and transfer again to a company in a beauty company, Avon, then proceed also to another direct selling company and so on and so forth. So we can't really know what would happen to us in the future. But for as long as you continue doing, you just be there following the future that's given to us. We might not be able to decide on our future, but just continue going on and it will lead us to the destination that is destined for us. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
And cut. Thank you so much for your answer. You are indeed focused on your present and is not letting your past dictate what's going to happen in the future, or even the actions or the changes that had happened. That's a good take on this question. Do we have another volunteer for our next question? Anyone from the crowd?
And try, please.
Sure, Toastmasters Bernadette, here is your question. The time traveling is just too dangerous. Better that I devote myself to study the other great mystery of the universe, women. Again, the time traveling is just too dangerous. Better that I devote myself to study other great mystery of the universe, women. You have 30 seconds to think. When ready, it's lights, camera.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am pleased to, this is my first time to look at this quote since I'm not a fan of Emmett Brown or his movies. I'm sorry to admit that. But I'm reminded of one saying that women are women are not as simple-minded as men. Men could be thinking of really nothing, and women could be just thinking of a lot of things. And what can I say? The great mystery of the universe, women. Since our brain can be thinking of a lot of things in one meeting, and I'm afraid I am out of words for the great mystery of the universe, where women are considered great mystery to studying as women. But I would say that women are not as complicated as people imagine. And to communicate to women, you have to know more of them, to listen to listen and take a little pill when they are saying some things, and listen from the unspoken words that they are trying to say. And thank you very much for this time to unravel some of the mysteries of women in the universe. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Toastmasters Bernadette. Now, I have to agree that women are very easy to understand, because I just had an experience earlier when my partner said, "Well, woman, she's nodding her head, but that means no." Very easy, not mystery at all. Now, I'd like to call on our international president to answer the last table topics quotation. Distinguished Toastmasters Richard Peck, are you up for the challenge?
Or why not?
Okay, then let's do this. The next topic is, we all have to make decisions that affect the course of our lives. Again, we all have to make decisions that affect the course of our lives. You have 30 seconds to think. When you're ready, action.
We all have to make decisions that affect the course of our lives. Of course, that's a true statement. If you made no decision in life, you would go nowhere in life. The minute you move, the minute you've taken a step, you've made a decision to do that. Now, the course you take is chosen by the decisions you make. There's a quote that states, "A bend in the road at the end of the road, unless we fail to make the turn." The course in life that you take is not always going to be a straight line. Straight line's a short distance, but it's boring. It's vanilla. Think about twists and turns that result from the decisions you make. There's also another quote that says, even if you decide to decide, you've still made a decision without even thinking about it. So yes, we all make decisions that affect the course of our lives. We also need to remember that the decisions we make affect the course of others' lives as well. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, International Director, Mr. Distinguished Toastmaster Richard Peck. Now we're done to our table topic session. I hope that everyone enjoyed listening, just like what I did. And I'd like to return the call over to our Toastmasters of the evening, Toastmasters JJ. Take it away.
All right. Great Scott, as Doc would always say. That's amazing. He always says that, how come people say it's always heavy in the, what's wrong with the gravity in the future? Well, tonight, what's wrong with the gravitational pull here on Earth? Because tonight we have heavenly bodies. Yes, that's right. We do have healthy bodies in all shapes and sizes, in all forms, and of course, in any level in your path. So tonight, we are very privileged to hear our keynote speaker. She is one of the stars there in the Toastmasters world. And tonight, where did it go? Let me just, I got lost with the share screen. Our guest is a distinguished Toastmaster and a member of 2 clubs in the U.S., Park City Toastmasters of Shreveport and New England Advanced Toastmasters. They'll meet, if you get the fun, both in District 53. She also served as the PR chair from 2020 to 2021 and club secretary in 2020-2021. A very active and passionate Toastmaster. Since joining in 2015, she has earned her DTM or Distinguished Toastmaster Award in 2017 and has almost completed her 2nd Distinguished Toastmaster through Pathways. She just happens to be married to none other than Distinguished Toastmaster Richard E. Peck, our international president, which means she is the First Lady, and really enjoys now having worked for her as a member, along with all of you here. To share her active and passionate thoughts, commit to your commitment. A warm round of applause to Distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn Peck.
Wow. Commit to your commitment. What does this even mean? We commit to something every day, and it's kind of a funny word to me. It's not just a word, it's a call to action. We don't give it a second thought. We have our work schedules. We commit to what classes. We commit ourselves to our families. We commit to our friends, and some commit to marriage. And if you're even a little crazy, if you do not commit yourself to a facility to get treatment, someone has to commit you. Welcome, fellow Toasters, distinguished guests, and my friends who I miss so much around the world, but especially the fabulous District 75, inviting me to speak at this joint meeting tonight of the BAVI Toastmaster Clubs right here in the Philippines. I really wish I was meeting you in place. It's pretty early here in the morning. It was tough to get up. And I probably should have worn sunglasses to hide my puffy eyes. But I made it be here, and I am humbled to be in your presence. As mentioned earlier, my name is BettyAnn Peck, and lucky for me, I am a passionate and committed Toastmaster clubs, Park City Toastmasters and NEAT, New England Advanced Toastmasters, a newly chartered club in District. Another city in 2015, and like many of you here in this room, I've served countless office roles. I took on the role of area director. I chartered a new club, and I earned my DTM. Presently, I serve as the District 3 Public Relations Manager, and I only could do as good on graphics as you do here in this district. Our region is the last region on the globe to get Pathway. I went at it with a vengeance. It's an amazing education forum. I truly enjoy it, and I highly benefit. And I love Toastmasters. And as I mentioned earlier, I'd like to think I'm very committed. I developed my love for Toastmasters long before I joined, from my husband, Richard Peck, who happens to be a very active and committed Toastmaster as well. Some of that my husband was my mentor, and everything I learned and everything I know was because he was the international president, and that couldn't be further from the truth. The main thing I did learn from him was witnessing how focused and committed he was to his commitment to all of you, the members of Toastmasters. He never told me how to do things. He merely encouraged and empowered me to find my, and although at times that really truly irritated me because I wanted the answer right away, I have to admit that it worked. But as a member, I still struggled. Picture, prior to joining, I was exposed to amazing people in countries all over the world when traveling with the bridge. I met with a distinguished Toastmaster. Everyone was fabulous. Everybody got along, and everyone I met was encouraging. I mentioned earlier I was committed, but not to the facility for treatment, mind you, to Toastmasters. So off I went along my journey as a member. It was quite a different event. Members dressed very casually, some even too casual. They didn't seem to get along well, and they seemed very disorganized. There was no exposure to the organization and how it operated. I was handed a manual with instructions, mind you, that I probably read, but I was never asked about when or if I was doing speeches, and I was really confused. Think back to when each of you walked into that room or that virtual environment for the very first time. What I have discovered over the years is that it takes more than making a commitment, whether you are a new member or a seasoned member. I don't like to say older members. Remember this, please. I resemble that remark as an older member. It takes the ability to understand your commitment and be able to commit to it. That's what I'd like to share with you today, because it's the basis of good club health, good club growth, and in the true spirit of the district mission statement. As human beings, we all make assumptions. We assume that most of the time, if someone makes a commitment, they're going to stick to it. By a show of hands in this Zoom box, and I'm trying to pick some of you out so I can see you, is there anyone here who knew that? Raise your hands. Give it a little dance. I see some of you. Well, there you are. We're still making assumptions. Let's be honest, it's not a bad thing, because it's really human nature. People want to be involved. People want to feel and important. So it was easy to make a commitment because it gets them involved and it makes them feel important, even when they don't understand what they've got in themselves or what they will be doing. These people I'm referring to, ladies and gentlemen, are the members of your club. Let's look at an example. The VP of membership, or VPM as we call ourselves, is generally the first person that an outsider contacts. They let you know they want to join Toastmasters. They want to learn how to speak in public. Or maybe they were referred by their boss so they can give presentations. Maybe they're getting ready to make a toast at a wedding next month, or they present a eulogy for a family member next week. They let you know they heard Toastmasters makes you a better speaker. They may even assume that Toastmasters will give you a better speaker in 7 days. Imagine their disappointment when that doesn't happen, but that's later. It's assumed VPM knows to make the error that it takes time, practice, patience, and education to learn the skills of a good communicator. But do they? What do you think happens next? Here's what happens next. The VPM sends them an invitation anyway to the next meeting. They attend it. They're surrounded by all of you here at District 75. Seems like a lot of fun, and they join the club. Now here comes the part. They're in, they joined, they took on a commitment, and you assume they understood what that commitment is. Now the word commitment gets thrown around a lot, just like the word commit, doesn't it? I hope that you would catch on with that. What does any of this have to do with club growth use? That's a really good question, and I'm going to answer that with some passionate Toastmaster thoughts. You heard earlier that I struggled once I became a member. It was actually a struggling club to begin with. I didn't get any advice, and I was just the manual, etc. Along came a club member that was committed to me as an individual member. He encouraged me, pathetic, and he explained the process of what Masters was all about. Now, mind you, my husband had told me this all along, and I really did him, but I wasn't listening to it. Suddenly, this club member made me feel empowered. I flourished, and then I realized that he'd commit to me because he was like that with all members. He did it because he was committed to his commitment as an officer of that club to make us betters. DTM Mike Storkey, our past international president of 2016 and 2017, had a very profound but simple tagline. During and after he served on the executive committee of Toastmasters International. And it's this: remember the member. The members, not the officers, are the most important aspect of this organization. If there are no members, there are no officer roles. There are no district leader roles. There are no districts, and there's not even any. If there are no members, there is no Toastmasters organization. Do we really remember the member at the grassroots level? Is the member that one we care about? Or is it the officer positions and district roles we all seek to get? As leaders, should consider going one step further and learn to commit to our commitments. I'm actively passionate about this, and in no way am I giving directives to anyone, but let's consider it. People join Toastmasters for a variety of reasons. How can we sustain membership if we don't know how to commit to our members? How do we get new members to? Well, good news travel fast, and they do join. But why don't they stay? Maybe it's as simple as no one remembers the member. Always remember the member. Members need to be encouraged, empowered, and knowledgeable of Toastmasters as an organization, like our founder, Ralph Smed said, and have fun doing. I've met members that actually thought they were in a book club. This is a true statement. But was it their fault? Some say yes, and some say no. And I've never conducted a search to discover who is right or wrong on this. My thoughts are this: if members joined to figure it all out on their own, why do we even have officers? Why do we even have DCP and DRP? Let's just let it be a book club. Were they just floundering on their own like I was at one time? Yet we seem confused when we lose members. Maybe they thought Toastmasters would make them brilliant after a year and it didn't happen. Or do we push them too hard? They've attended every meeting, and we have to take on officer roles or different district roles before they're even ready. Is it all about the DCP or the DRP? Don't you hate those acronyms? We're an acronym organization. It took me 3 years to figure them all out, and I think I'm still missing some. DCP stands for Distinguished Club Program. How many members here even know what DR is? I only learned about it, I won't say recently, but it took me a while. It stands for District Mission Program. It's all about the numbers. But the District Mission Program, or DRP, is about district performance for all of our clubs together. Maybe a new member won't hear it away, but quite frankly, how many of the members here in this room know about it? But when people stumble and fall after making a commitment, we as Toastmasters have to help them build a better foundation. We together to be better at giving them overall understanding Toastmasters organization. We attend officer training, and we learn that a president is over the meeting. The secretary takes the sergeant at arms, maintains the equipment, sets up the room. The VPE makes sure education is signed off. The VPR comes to publicity, and we all know about the VPM that brings in all those new members. Then they have breakout sessions. and we hear about the same struggles on how to make the clubs better, how to keep new members, but not one person mentions the existing members and what we need to do to help them. Here's a concept would be interesting. Maybe a membership training, but we'll call it an orientation. And we do have membership orientations. Do them religiously. My challenge to all of you to commit yourselves to all members. Know these members as individuals and let them know that you are committed in their role. Be the passionate person that resides in every one of you here. It's up to you to make the member feel like they are. It's not by using phrases, you're great or you are great, and only worry that the grammarian of the day will catch your bad grammar. It's about letting them know how important their contribution is. There's a huge group of people who just joined to make it on their own without any help, without any encouragement. That wasn't me. And I don't think with large variety of the people that join who need the encouragement and need to be aware of the environment they joined to help them grow. There's a lot of everything going on in our lives, my lives, your lives, and being a member of a club should not be a chore or considered a second job. When we talk about officers and roles that you take on, some people believe you move up, but you don't. Having an officer role does not give anyone the tools needed for club health, club growth, membership retention, if you cannot encourage the members to know what Toastmasters as an organization is from the very beginning. Tell that story, share the history, plant the seed that entices those that have joined your club. Be sincere and passionate, and give them information that will help them to know what it is they are to expect. Your commitment is to your members. That is the challenge for you to take on. Hence the name, Commit to Your Commitment. The mission of the DIT is to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And being a better communicator is more than public speaking. It's also about being able to connect with others. Members who are connected become truly committed to the education program. Empower members in developing their skills so that they can also move on to become committed leaders. If all of us together commit to our commitment, you will see the results. This is what aligns us with the Toastmasters tagline, where leaders are made. Madam Toastmaster.
We are on our sides.
I did want to, we are starting to meet in person, and Richard and I will be traveling to West Africa, to Guinea, for an in-person meeting. So there's good signs coming up.
Mm-hmm. Good. Your vaccine?
Oh, I've been vaccinated.
Oh.
Yes, both vaccines, suffered COVID. Oh. Both vaccines, 5 different shots for travel.
And also for Africa.
Oh yes, yellow fever, tetanus, meningitis, hepatitis, blah blah, and anything else to think of.
And we are still hoping and waiting and wishing and hoping and waiting. Of course, soon we'll get there.
Wish you all well. I hope that you all stay safe, and we look forward to seeing you at some point at an annual convention in, or even in the Philippines.
Yes, that would be great. You can, of course, visit. Thank you very much for this lovely talk a lot. And we truly appreciate. Our heart is full by your presence, and of course by the presence of our national president, distinguished Toastmaster Richard. But the night is not yet over.
Okay.
Yes, we have to proceed, and soon we will be led by another dashing gentleman
To the snow.
who is with the San Miguel Toastmasters Club. He is the epitome of a Toastmaster. They do great toast in San Miguel.
Yeah, here.
With the SMG cheer, yes, with a beer. Let us all welcome our past district governor, this Toastmaster, Alan O'Million.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster JJ. To our internal president, distinguished Toastmaster Peck, and of course to our special keynote speaker, distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn. Peck, thank you very much for gracing and attending our meeting tonight. And of course, we have with us in our midst our international director, distinguished Toastmaster Doti Do, and of course our other past international director, Elisa Tai. So thank you very much, ladies, for attending, and to everybody who have taken their time. You know, being part of BAVI Toastmasters Club. Officially, I was already registered as a member of this club, and this is my first official role as your general evaluator. But just like any other Toastmasters meet, we always look forward to a Toastmasters meeting, not only because we will be seeing some of our friends, but also because we will also learn something. And tonight, I did learn something, and I would like to commend the club, because when we started, we have what we call the sparkle portion. This is a very unique way of really getting to know our members, our guests, prior to the meeting proper. And the way we did it tonight, with the lead of distinguished Toastmaster Ramses, well, in a way, makes us more comfortable and more relaxed, so that we'll be able to enjoy what is coming. While tonight everybody was requested to wear glasses, I have one. Unfortunately, I keep on wearing it. I cannot read anymore, so I will just take it off. But I do look good, right? Every show of hands, right?
Tom Cruise.
Yes.
After.
Yeah, you have to show your hand, your thumbs up, or else I will give an evaluation now. Just joking. But really, the way the sparkle portion was handled made me think this is a very nice club. Or if I was a guest, this made me think that how come I was able to attend the other meeting? So I would like to give kudos to our Toastmaster, our coach here, Toastmaster Ramses, to continue on this one. This is one really way of inviting and making sure that the guests, as what distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn said, we are committing to the members by giving them a chance to really reveal something from them. Well, tonight's topic, or the sparkle portion, was all about the 80s. What was your iconic idol during that time? If you can remember Superman, the movie then, that was with the actor, the very famous, the late Christopher Reeves, if you can remember that one. It was one of those movies that gave me an idea on really looking forward to, because not only was it because he was a superhero from another world, but he was there to help others. And just like Toastmasters, we are here not just to help ourselves, but to help others achieve their goals. So for that, let us give our members who log in that early. And how do you call these members, Toastmaster Ramsey, log in earlier than those who were early? How do we call them?
The worms?
The worms. Because the earliest get the worms, or is that correct? No, I don't know what is the proper word for that one, but definitely it was quite entertaining for everybody. So I encourage the members and the guests who will be attending in future meeting to log early, because you will be missing a portion in our program. Let's now go to our main program itself. While the Toastmasters program, we are here to give a guide not only to the Toastmasters member, but also to the non-member Toastmasters or the non-Toastmasters member for that. So let me just go through first to the evaluation, because this one portion we're in, we really would like to give back and help our members. This is the way of showing our commitment to our members by sharing what we want or what can rather help themselves become better. And so let us start with the basics, with the evaluation of this first speaker. And our first speaker, Distinguished Toastmaster will be evaluated by our past internal director. Let us welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Elisa Tai. Let's give her a big round of applause, please.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and to Franklin, our first speaker for tonight. Now, your project is about infusing and including humor in your speech. It's an elective for your speech project presenting in your pathways presentation. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to bring the audience rolling on the floor. It's simply a matter of finding humor. And so this is when we start collecting stories already here and there to add to our arsenal. Toastmaster Franklin, I love your speech tonight. The topic of your speech is very timely because I remember last year I posted on my Facebook wall, the end of this pandemic, we're all going to be master bakers, masters, and master gardeners. It's true. A lot of people have started becoming plantitos and plantitas. And it touched a resonant, it accord our system because we all have tried our hands in becoming gardeners. So there was a joy in your speech because we could relate to it. We could relate to the frustrations when you saw your deer dying. So you brought us along in your journey. And if you make some adjustments in your speech, that created a bigger impact for all of us. When we add humor, we don't actually technically add humor to it. We find humor in our stories and we magnify them. Like for example, when you talk about, I planted ginger and more ginger, all ginger. So maybe it have been just simply a matter of shifting your delivery and say, ginger, ginger, ginger everywhere. Because then that creates already of humor by simply adding gestures, big variations in our vocal. But another, when you talk about now, it's not ginger, but you have other vegetables, you broke it into a song, the Bahay Kubo, because that would have been an unexpected twist. It is already part speech. We are not adding humor, we're simply finding humor in the speech. Another about diaper. Maybe you could have a contrast between plants and babies. I feed my baby, I water my plant. I sing to my baby, I sing to my plants. I change my baby's diapers, I change pad. So contrast, just and babies, because then it's simply finding the story and finding the part in our stories, and that would have created a impact. Another thing I would suggest would be to change a little bit the organization speech and bring forward that story about your dying. So maybe your introduction could have been, what happened to my ginger? All dead. Then, and segue to the speech by saying maybe, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. When I was 9, I started planting. So then that would have been a contrast to the speech and created a bigger impact for your introduction. Your conclusion, you brought a resolution, and that was very effective. And that is how we tell a story. Story, when we have a conflict, we tell the story and we tell the resolution. And you were effective in that point. So let us continue on finding humor in our stories and magnify them, change the pace, change our volume, add more gestures, and then we have found humor in our speech. Thank you, Toastmaster Franklin. You helped us through this journey of being a plantito, and I look forward to more plants coming up our backyard. Back to our janitor, Alan.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Elisa, for your evaluation of distinguished Toastmaster Franklin. While you always would like to expect from our evaluators to really give you some good intent. So tonight, Toastmaster Elisa not only guided our speaker on how to really deliver and improve next projects that he will be handling, but sometimes, if I may, Toastmaster Elisa, I would like to pause on just the major aspect on the improvement side. While the intention is there for Toastmaster Elisa to really help distinguish Toastmaster Frank, overall, it was a very nice evaluation wherein we try to absorb and appreciate the observations from a seasoned Toastmaster. So for that, let us give a big round of applause to distinguished Toastmaster Elisa for a wonderful evaluation. Let's go now to the next speech evaluator, and this is the speech of our Division I International Speech contestant who will be representing in the semifinals that will be tomorrow. So we welcome our District 75 Growth Director to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Mary Gay. Let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster Jasmine. Let's give her a big round of applause, please. Toastmaster Jasmine.
Thank you, Sir General Evaluator. Toastmaster Mary Gay. Thank you for inspiring us with your semicolon moments. Similar to a semicolon, it's two independent clauses. Share with you my comments on what aspects of your speech you can continue or reinforce, and what areas you can pause and reconsider. In line with the objective of your speech project, which is to inspire the audience, I believe you are successful in this regard because you were able to touch our hearts with your emotional appeal through your semicolon stories. You gave us two moments that were equally powerful. One that happened during the recession in 2008, and another one that took place last year with a pandemic period. I think you effectively used your personal stories to convey your central message with all of. I also like how you engage the audience members with your pleasant and soothing voice and expressive facial expressions. I love how you were able to maximize the four corners of this screen with deliberate and purposive hand gestures and body movements. Now, what are the aspects of your speech that you need to pause and reconsider? I would like to offer two recommendations. First, I suggest you make your speech more engaging and interactive. Perhaps at the start of your speech, you can raise a question to all of us. Have you experienced a moment in your life? And proceed to share your stories. This way, you will encourage the audience to think about those moments and be with you as you share your journey of those moments. Second, I would like to propose that emphasize the key takeaway of speech. What's in it for the audience, as well as more concrete call to action for all of us. You can do this by providing specific examples on how we can apply your message. Perhaps you can request us to pause, reflect on our semicolon moments, and think about how we can move forward with a better perspective. As I end, I would like to commend you, Toastmaster Mary Gay, for delivering an inspiring and engaging speech with your heartwarming stories and effective expressions, voice, and gestures. You may enhance your speech by making it more interactive and highlighting the key takeaways and call for action. Congratulations for successfully achieving the objectives of this speech project, and continue inspiring us with your semicolon moments. Let us give Toastmaster Mary Gay a warm round of applause for her awesome speech. Back to you, General Evaluator Gov Alan.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Jazz, for your evaluation of our speaker number 2. Just like distinguished Toastmaster Elisa, distinguished Toastmaster Jazz also presented to us the good points, the areas for improvement, and then wrap it up again with the good points. Basically, for me, that is a very good way of really encouraging our members to improve further. We would like also to highlight the strength, the good points, what that speaker has done in terms of improving himself or herself. But through the course, we also highlighted very good points as mentioned by distinguished Toastmaster Jazz. So let us give a big round of applause to our evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Jazz, for helping our speaker improve on his path to excellence. So let's give her a big round of applause, please. Let's go now to our table topics portion. And for our table topics evaluator, this will be handled by Toastmaster Jeff Sagala. Let us welcome our past division director, Jeff Sagala.
Thank you very
much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. So I will be evaluating the table topic speakers, and also I will be sharing some inputs of the performance of our table topics masters. First things first, congratulations everyone for participating in table topics. I hope that everyone enjoyed your stint during the table topics. So now let's proceed directly to the table topics master, Toastmaster Cassie. I believe that you were really commendable in handling the table topics. What I love the most is where you were able to orient us first on the objectives and the mechanics of table topics, so that everyone or all the members will be guided on how to perform in table topics. So that's really good. And also, I love the fact that you shared some techniques in table topics, so that even seasoned Toastmaster, or if we have new members, they will know how to ace table topics. So great job, Toastmaster Cassie. However, some point of improvement, I just have one. If possible, I believe you could have expounded more of what is the PPF mechanics, or if there is an audition or something, so that you can ask the audience to participate accordingly on your idea of how you would conduct the table topics. But other than that, congratulations, Toastmaster Cassie. Now I'll proceed with the table topic speakers. Allow me to categorize the table topic speakers into past, present, and future. First thing is Toastmaster Boyet. With the quote, "The future isn't written, it can be changed." I believe I can categorize him into past, because he shared to us his past story or his past experiences. I believe that he had his point, and he had his stand about the topic, and it's really commendable that you were able to expound on your standpoint based from your personal stories. You shared to us your schools, what happened with your choices about your courses, and then from shifting from one dream to another, and then you were able to share to us personal story of your struggles, not struggles, perhaps your experiment in terms of your experiences jumping from one company to the other. And then the good thing or the best thing about it is your speech or your stories were really in chronological order and it stayed in focus with your point. You're not just merely saying to us or explaining personal stories. Everything was connected to your main point or to your main standpoint. So congratulations, Toastmaster Boyd. Now, point of improvement, I would like or I would prefer, or if I may suggest, you could have brought us to your present or what is your realizations or what are your takeaway message based from your personal stories. So if you could have injected that or if you could have included that, it would be better. Just like Toastmaster Bernadette or what Toastmaster Bernadette did, he was here. She really stayed in the present. So with the quote, "Time traveling is just too dangerous. Better that I devote myself to study the other great mystery of the universe, which is woman." So I believe she just stayed in the present. She just shared to us, opened her heart of what she thinks about the topic. She's very congenial, she's very friendly, and she's just like talking to a friend, and she's really comfortable in speaking out her heart. Congratulations, Toastmaster Bernadette, for staying true to yourself, staying true to your present beliefs. Now, allow me to share some point of improvement, personal stories. If it would be better if you could have injected your personal stories that can substantiate further your points. So it could make your speech more relatable since you experience it yourself. Now, allow me to connect that to our third speaker, which is our international president. With Toastmaster Richard, or Distinguished Toastmaster Richard, with the quotation, "We all have to make decisions that affect the course of our lives." Allow me to categorize him to the future because he shared stories which is really from the point of view or from the perspective looking in the future. He started with the point on his stand about the topic, opened it with his personal views and beliefs, which established his authority about the topic and which is really, really commendable. The, spe- the speech was full of treasures that we can learn from. I believe that it's not just a typical SMG or story message game, but a level up performance which is full of wisdom. Now, I don't see the timer. Hello. Now, just point of improvement for the international president, if we could challenge the audience, and I believe this is also applicable to all the speakers. At the end of our speech, if we could really challenge ourselves to give back our main point or to give back a reflection to our audience, it could make the audience reflect or on something as we close our meeting. Now, I am already in yellow. That's good. Now, congratulations, everyone. Allow me to end my speech with this closing statement. The future isn't written. It can change anytime as we subject ourselves to the greatest mysteries of the universe. Perhaps not only to women, we have to act because our decisions now would definitely affect our life and our future. Congratulations, everyone, and back to the general evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Jeff. First of all, we would really like to thank you for taking on the challenge. This is a last-minute change, and really, you demonstrated what it is to be true to the commitment of Toastmasters. We as Toastmasters are always trained to really accept any changes so that we can not only challenge ourselves, but at the same time, also make sure that we can contribute to the growth of this club. And for that, we would really like to congratulate you, Toastmaster Jeff. For the evaluation of the table topics, if I may add, Toastmaster Jeff, especially to our table topic master, Hazel, right? That's correct. Well, I really love the video presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. It gives another advantage to the speakers or to those who will be called because they not only will focus on the question that was presented, but at the same time also manage their other sense, which is hearing and listening to what the topic is all about. But if I may suggest to our table topic master, sometimes we need to create that suspense. When we called on the first speaker, you started on the right direction wherein you first presented the topic from the PowerPoint presentation, and then you called an audience. Not only did you make sure that everybody was thinking about the topic, because they might think that their name or his or her name will be called. In that way, we are engaging everybody. Everybody is involved in this table topic portion. Towards the second and the third, although there was a volunteer, and that is very good as well, because we welcome those who would stand up and, face the challenge in answering our question. But probably during the third, you could also continue on sustaining that suspense. I really like the suspense in table topic, not because it is the most fearful portion, but rather it will really create that, or rather force, if I may say so, force the audience, the members to think before they can be aware of who the next Toastmaster or speaker will be. So, but the overall presentation of our table topics portion was very commendable, and for that, let us give them a big round of applause. Let's go now to the other portion of our program. But before that, probably we could also highlight the most important, one of the most important portion of our program is on the keynote speaker. Tonight, this is really one of the most unique part wherein we have an invited Toastmaster to share on her experiences and how a Toastmaster club can flourish. Not only did she mention on the commitment, and which I really like, I wrote it down here, from commit to your commitment to remember your commitment to your members, because that is really the most important part of our Toastmasters Club, the members themselves. How do we make sure that they will be committing to their commitment if we themselves, if we, the officers, the other officers of the club, do not even take good care of them? And I remember one of the most important quote that I come across in Toastmaster, even here in the Philippines. Somebody once said that nobody will take care or will care about what you want in Toastmasters until you show your care to them. That is where we will remember the members. So for that, Toastmaster BettyAnn, we are really grateful for your time. I know it's quite early there in your part of the world, but definitely we are very honored by your presence. And of course, your better half, distinguished Toastmaster Richard Peck, was also very graceful rather, in participating in our table topics master. And to them, let us give them a big round of applause to our special guests. But not to put, or rather to mention as well, a very important part is our facilitator for our special keynote speaker. This is very important because not only do we want continuity in our program, our facilitator, distinguished Toastmaster Judy, was very, was very fluid in terms of asking the question, trying to link the speaker's topic to what is relevant to District 75. And for that, we are grateful to distinguished Toastmaster Judy for handling the facilitator's role. So let's give her a big round of applause as well. Let's go now to the other roles, and this is basically on our language evaluation, our counter, and our timer. To handle the language evaluation portion, let us welcome our Vice President for Education of BAVI-BICOL Toastmasters Club, as well as our incumbent Division I Director, no other than distinguished Toastmaster Joni Omega. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Hey, thank you, Toastmaster Alan, distinguished Toastmaster Alan. Now with Toastmasters, we strive to improve on our use of the English language. Okay, I took note of the gems and also the gifts from the meeting tonight. Now let's take the chill pill first, as I'm going to share with you the gems that I have captured. Okay, starting with idiomatic expressions, we have memory lane, cup of tea, a moment in time, okay, and intersections of our lives. I also heard someone use a hyperbole, thunderous applause, which is actually quite catchy. And some of the interesting lines, attention-grabbing lines that I've captured, we have all the time in the world to waste. We also have, it is stronger than a comma, but less final than a period. There's always a story behind every punctuation mark. And lastly, straight line is short, but it's boring. Okay, now it's time to share with you the germs that I also captured. Okay, so I heard someone said, I am also his idol, where it should be, he is also my idol. I also heard overly used phrases such as right now, which can be translated into currently, or we can actually just get away with this adverb. We can use the present progressive tense of the verb to indicate right now or currently. Let's also be mindful of the 12 verb tenses, which I would love to discuss with you, but I don't have time. Okay, so let's be mindful of the use of those verb tenses so that in the next time we use the English language, we can use them effectively and correctly. For subject-verb agreement, I also captured someone used everybody. Now, when we say everybody, it's always singular. So it means that the verb that will follow should be singular as well. And also for the phrase one of, it should be followed with a plural noun. Okay, so one of the things, one of the most important parts, okay, it's always plural. For the idiomatic expression of the night, I only heard our table topics master use it, and of course me. Okay, so that's it for my grammarian's report. Back to our general evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Joni. For our act counter, this will be handled by distinguished Toastmaster Ramses. Let's give him a big round of applause, please.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Our act counter has a problem with the connection, so he just provided me with the information of the early reports. So just like my favorite 80s movie, Tarzan, if you still remember the Tarzan movie, right? And what is the famous lines of Tarzan? It's ah. So tonight I will be your act counter. I take down notes of all the filler words, the interjections, the repetitive words that have been done during the meetings. So Toastmaster Jet already provided me with the first one. So I just started from the one that I have. I already have by us. So let me see who will be the Tarzan of the night after end of my report. So for the first one, we have distinguished Toastmaster Katrina has 4 interjection, 1 repetitive word. Toastmaster Nino has 1 interjection. Toastmaster Franklin have 2 interjection. Toastmaster Mary 1 interjection. Toastmaster Cassie 4 interjection. Toastmaster Boyd has 1 long pauses, 2 interjection. Toastmaster Bernadette has 1 long pauses, 2 interjection, and 2 repetitive words. Then the rest for Toastmaster Sagala has I believe 6 times. He mentioned I believe 13 times, 3 times. Distinguished Toastmaster Alans have 3 as, and we have Ann 3 times. So for tonight, if I give me the chance to become the person of the night, is our table topic evaluator, Toastmaster Sagala. Back to our Toastmaster of the General Evaluator, Toastmaster Alan.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Ramses, for taking over for Toastmaster Joji. Let's go now to our time management, and the report will be given by Toastmaster competent communicator Mimi Borromeo. Let's give her a big round of applause, please.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Much. So, good evening. Yes, I'm not the female version of John Lennon. I'm Mimi Borromeo, president of BAVI-BICOL Toastmasters Club and your timer for tonight. So, good evening again, everyone, especially to our guests for tonight, BTM, of course, the keynote speaker, BTM, and our president, Toastmaster Richard Peck. Okay, now as a timer, my role actually is to make sure that every speaker has to speak within a given time range, and for them and for us to develop and improve time management skills, and of course to be conscious of time. Because let us be reminded that when we are joining contests, even if how beautiful or how fruity our speeches are, we will be disqualified if we will go on overtime. Okay, now for the speakers, for the prepared speakers, fortunately, nobody went on overtime as far as the rules of being disqualified in speaking contest is concerned, because Toastmaster Franklin only had 7 minutes and 15 seconds. So just a 15-second over the maximum of 7 minutes. So that is not a disqualification. And our second speaker, Toastmaster Mary Gay, is just a little over 4 seconds to 7 minutes. So no disqualification if we will be conscious of being disqualified for the contest. And our table topics for the table topics master, Toastmaster Cassie is given up to 15 minutes, but she only consumed 11 minutes, so that's very, very timely. And for the table topics speakers, we only have Toastmaster Boyet, who went on overtime for 2 minutes and 42 seconds instead of just a maximum of 2 minutes. So the other speakers didn't go over time. And also for the other speakers, like our keynote speakers or special guests, even if she was given 15 to 20 minutes, well, she really had the time management of only consuming over 16 minutes for that. So thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn. And for the open forum, we have a lot of time, so that was really okay for me. For the general evaluator, BTM, Alan, well, for your the introduction of only 2 to 3 minutes, you went over 5 minutes and over time.
Was carried away.
Yes. And for our first evaluator, for the first speaker, that's Toastmaster Elisa, well, you had overtime. You consumed 4 minutes and 27 seconds, which is supposed to be only 3 minutes. And for Toastmaster Jasmine, the evaluator of the second prepared speaker, as far as contest is concerned, she was not overtime, or she will not be disqualified because she only had 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Okay, and for the Toastmaster evaluation, or evaluator, Toastmaster Jeff, no overtime, only 6 minutes and 9 seconds on that. And the same goes to the language evaluator, that's BTM Joni. in toast and DTM rounds for the act counter. Now, I'm timing myself and I'm still not over time, so before I finish and end my report, let me just share this quote about time. So, time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can keep it, but you can spend it. But once you've lost it, you can never get it back. Back to you, Toastmaster of the evening, or rather, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Our timer for this meeting, Toastmaster Mimi. Well, as mentioned by Toastmaster Mimi, very important on the time. Let's also give a time for our special guest, distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn, to say a few words. Toastmaster Betty?
Yes, thank you, Master Toastmaster, because you are Master this evening. I wanted to personally thank Ramses for checking in with me and inviting me to this meeting. It meant a lot. We had a lot of back and forth. He was very energetic. He was very, very diligent in everything he did. From the agenda to the pictures, the backgrounds, the late night calls, the early morning calls. But I wanted to personally thank him and for his commitment to doing this and having me as a guest speaker. It was an honor. I'm not a keynote speaker by any stretch of the imagination, but I was really humbled and honored to be here. And I have you to thank, Ramses, and possibly Eliza for sending a recommendation over if that's possible to acknowledge as well. So thank you very much. You all did a fabulous job.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn. Also, we are here from District 75, are really honored by your presence and for sharing your experiences. That was really something that we will always take into consideration, especially for the club, because most of the clubs here are having some problems, but you reminded us on what is really our role, that is to remember the members and commit to our commitment to that. Again, let's give her a big round of applause, please, to distinguished Toastmaster BettyAnn. Okay. Let's go now to the other portion of the program. While I did not, I sort of delayed the word of the night because this one is really something unique, and that is because we always forget to take a chill pill. Sometimes in Toastmasters, they say it is one way of taking a chill pill, if that is the case for somebody else. But for me, that is really part of growing, how to relax yourself and how to improve yourself. So for that, we would like to give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Nino for sharing the word of the night. Let's give him a big round of applause, please. Toastmaster Nino. And, of course, whoever, the person who introduced our Toastmaster of the evening is a lady, not only because she holds the highest position now in our District 75, she was very, very kind enough to share with us certain news or data from our Toastmaster of the evening. And I like when she started, distinguished Toastmaster, our district director, Marilyn, when she started by saying that our Toastmaster of the evening brings a lot of joy. That is really correct. When we try to present somebody, we always like to make sure that the audience are prepared on what to expect. And tonight, distinguished Toastmaster Marilyn not only elevated the status of our Toastmaster of the evening, but she presented to us a very good way of introducing our Toastmaster of the evening. And for that, we would like to thank our district director, distinguished Toastmaster Marilyn. Let's give her a big round of applause, please. Finally, I will be remiss in my duties if I will not evaluate properly our Toastmaster of the evening. Tonight, not only do we have the honor of recalling the joy in joining Toastmasters, but we also were given the chance on how a Toastmaster of the evening should handle the part of the program. The main reason why we have a Toastmaster of the evening is because he or she always provides the continuity from the start to finish. Tonight, our Toastmaster of the evening, our past district director, distinguished Toastmaster JJ, not only presented it in a very nice way, but it was handled in such a way that we were always looking forward, because in between there were ad-libs that connected the portion of the program with the next part of the program. Not only did our Toastmaster of the evening provided this link, but we were glued to the meeting because our Toastmaster of the evening provided to us how to anticipate and appreciate the program. And she did this, like for example, when you introduce our speaker, by mentioning not only the speech number of that speaker, the objectives, the time allocated for that, the evaluator, but also the title and the name, the full name of our speaker. She not only presented how it should be done, but how it should be properly presented or introduced to us. Just a minor lapse, if I may say so, Toastmaster JG. Sometimes we forget that we also must remind our incoming speakers or the speakers who will be following us to always remember, not like for example, to always switch off the audio for those who are not speaking, and to switch on the audio so that they will be reminded that all technical parameters are being taken care of. Very, very minor. It doesn't really put a person on a very bad light, but just like any other Toastmaster of the evening, we are tasked to really help the speakers so that they can be welcomed with open arms by our members. And for that, we would like to thank you, Toastmaster JJ, for leading us tonight, for helping us remember the 80s. I know you do not belong to the 80s. You belong to the millennial group. Probably this should be given to the more seasoned Toastmasters. But tonight, not only are we in a very good environment, but we are in the midst of families, and families always help each other. So let us give a big round of applause to our Toastmaster of the evening, no other than distinguished Toastmaster JG. With that, fellow Toastmasters, I thank you for taking your time, and it is an honor to be part of BAVI Toastmasters Club. As our said, let us take good care of members because this is the life of the club. Back to our Toastmaster of the evening, this is Toastmaster JJ.
Thank you so much for those kind words. I love to hear that I'm part of the millennials and not the millennium. So tonight we had a throwback Saturday. We learned about going back to the future. We heard our speaker commit to commitment. And I want to do a special shout out to all our leaders, from our Division I Director, our Club Growth Director, our District Director, and our International Director. All women, you can sing with me to the tune of Donna Summers. I tweaked it a bit. She works hard for a member.
She works hard for the
member. Woo! So everybody, let's work hard for our members. And so let us be safe, be well, and I will now wear my sunglasses as I bid you good. And singing another song by Katrina and the Waves. Let's start walking on sunshine. Oh, walking on sunshine. Don't forget to also wear your shades. Good evening. Back to you, to our leaders, our club presidents.
Yes, thank
and also
you.
our Vice President for Education.
Thank you so much. Full of joy, Toastmaster of the evening. Okay, let's have more members. Thank you, everyone, for this great evening, and thank you for your commitment to be with us and support every member. Yes, Direct Johnny?
Yes, yes. Thank you so for attending the 4th BAVI club meetings. Okay, so we are really honored. It's packed tonight. And yeah, thank you for attending. May I ask Direct Lisa if we will do it together?
Yes, in unison.
One after the other.
Okay, any motion to close the meeting? Motion.
I will be meeting close.
Thank you, Ethan.
Seconded. I seconded.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Power
by the power vested in us.
By Toastmasters
International. We adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, guys, thank you so
Oh,
much.
I love you.
Picture.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody stay safe. Stay safe and thanks again.
Yeah, first switch on your video.
One last person.
Yes, picture
Again.
without your shame. Without.
Another photo? I need a nap.
After this one.
I think you need
the whole
more
morning.
coffee, BettyAnn.
Yes.
You drink more beer.
Because it's not real. I'm not going to drink for a few hours.
Yay.
Thank you.
Done.
Yay, done.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Miss you.
Next time.
Everybody stay safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.